What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a review of this video here. Aussie wakes up from coma speaking Mandarin, the SBS, the feed. Okay, for those who don't know, SBS is an international channel that exists in Australia, and when I was growing up, we only had like maybe 4 or 3, I can't even remember, like there was not many TV channels that you could tune into, and SBS, basically what they did was present international news, international movies. It was basically everything from around the world, and all the other channels were basically English channels about Australia and maybe America and stuff like that. But SBS was always kind of an interesting channel, and when I grew up I watched a lot of stuff on it. It was all subtitled and I just kind of sat there and it was very fascinating to me, and maybe that's where I got my interest from languages from. But this video here is only about 4.5 minutes, and I've been told it's a good feel story, basically, or feel good story. And I've actually appeared on this TV channel before. So I'm going to show you a video from when I appeared on it as well, and I'm hoping that's kind of a feel good story as well. We'll see where that one leads. Now, before I go too far in depth, this is the first time I'm sitting in this chair today, because my herniated disc is playing up again. So I've been basically in bed all day, and I figured, you know what, since we're talking about Chinese, why not show you some of the crazy Chinese medicine that I've been using? So first up, we got this massive instrument right here. This thing, oh god, I love this thing, okay? What it does is, it's got like all these little pads that you put on your back, like wherever the region's like painful, and then it pumps electricity and kind of like waves through your back, and it feels like you're getting a massage, and by god, does it feel good. It's good for like a temporary relief, but doesn't like do anything really long term. Additionally, my wife, being Chinese, she's into, you know, Chinese medicine and stuff, she got me this, which is like a giant ass tea bag, but instead it's got like a whole heap of Chinese herbs, and then you boil this mother and you basically put it on your back, and the whole idea is it's meant to seep into your skin. I don't know if it works or not. It just makes me smell like a giant tea bag, but like it makes her happy, and whatever makes her happy makes me happy. Okay, so let's review this video together. Oh, I guess I should show you the other one first, because I feel like I should show you in this like chronological order. Okay, a little bit of backstory here. So, many years ago, we got contacted here, the Esperanto community, by the TV show, or sorry, the TV channel SBS. They wanted to do a small segment on Esperanto, and because locally I'm well known as an Esperanto speaker, they got connected with me and they said, hey, just come down on a weekend, bring a mate, and Kaya came along, and we'll basically just do a tiny segment on Esperanto. We just need some B-roll of someone speaking Esperanto. I was like, okay, cool. So we rocked up down there, and I remember me and my mate Kaya here, we were talking the whole time, like, is there anything we shouldn't say, or like, we don't want to accidentally say something that makes us look weird or something like that, because like, it's very rare anyone wants to talk about Esperanto. And like, for some reason, there was a joke that was brought up, and the joke is kolego, okay? So kolego means colleague, but if you break it according to like Esperanto suffixes and stuff, it could also mean like a big neck. Kolo being neck, and then kolego being a big neck. So we're like, let's not accidentally say a stupid joke like that, right? Right? Yeah, we did. We accidentally said that stupid joke. But anyway, funny thing is, we were here and they're like, let's go into this local supermarket. They pointed at the supermarket and we're like, okay, cool. And we went into the supermarket and they're like, let's just get some B-roll of you walking around, maybe just talk some Esperanto. So we started walking around. We weren't sure what to say. We had this camera like pointing right at our faces. So we just started like picking up fruits and naming them, which is what's going to happen right here. Verde pomoi, orange, mandarino, ruja pomo, verde pomo, grapefructo. It's not like Klingon or something like one of these ones that you see on TV. Now, here's the funny bit. You'll notice through the segment, me and Kaya are basically always together. And when his dad saw this on TV, at the time, I don't think Kaya had any girlfriends or anything like that up to this point. And for some reason, his dad was like, looked at this, looked at us together out there shopping for fruit like a friendly pair of bros. And he turned to Kaya and he goes, are you gay? Kyle was like, what? No, he's just my mate. But this stuck. And I don't know what it is, but like every time I appear with someone, everyone just assumes I'm gay. It's happened so much recently on this channel. And now it like, I'm just digging my own hole at this point. For a movie or something. Ananaso, frague, flor de brasico. It's a language that's... I like how Kaya's just not saying anything, he's just nodding. Why did you leave this all up to me? It's actually spoken in real life by real people. Cepo for onions. Uno, suficias.
And I'd say it's the simplest.
The funny thing is I would never buy vegetables in a supermarket because I'm primarily like a meat eater. Sorry to the vegans out there, but like I barely buy vegetables.
Language to learn. Anyone can learn. Saluton, mia nomo estas Richard.
Oh, check out the gap between my front teeth right there, okay? So I've got this fixed up, but back then it was so wide and it was perfect for like shooting water really far distances and getting people.
Sal, mi nomiĝas Kaja. Kutime ke mi havas mian alian uniciklon, mi estas iom pli alta.
He's just talking about the fact like when he has his like other unicycle, he's usually like higher up.
Just hearing upshots, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was a Spanish or German conversation. But if you listen closely, you'll realise it's neither, or kind of both.
I actually stumbled across it when I was surfing Wikipedia. I found an article about international languages and I'm like,
man, I had a lot more hair back then.
this sounds interesting.
Richard and Kaya are part of a group of just a few hundred Australians who speak a made-up language called Esperanto.
Okay, cool. If you guys want to watch the rest of that video, it will be in the description. I don't think there's anything else in here. It's mainly them just talking about like, or maybe I'll jump to the end. Okay.
As ever.
Sometimes I think it's a little bit too starry-eyed, but I like to think there's still a bit of hope in me that someday it might happen.
Hope in humanity still.
But I'm not too fussed about it. I'm just having fun and talking to people.
Nowadays, Esperanto is taught and spoken primarily online.
You see this scene right here? So me and Kaya were chatting and we were actually at the pub and this was after filming had finished for the day. And the cameraman was filming us and we had no idea he was filming us. And right now, thank God they cut the audio because we were trash talking a couple of local Esperantists. Like, I mean total trash talking them because they'd been annoying the hell out of us.
Creating a very niche network of people.
I like the social cohesion of the Esperanto community, and I think it's changed my perspective on things in a lot of ways that learning
I think this is literally what's happening at this point. This is where we're going
a
off.
bigger language might not have. For instance, Esperanto speakers really love languages.
There's a word for colleague in Esperanto,
I'm the one who did it. I thought it was Kaya. I forgot.
which is collego. But if you took it apart like a normal Esperanto word, it means someone with a fat neck. That does not translate.
We literally discussed this beforehand, and I remember afterwards, now that I think about it, Kaya turning to me and going, bruh. Okay, let's go back to the Aussie waking up in a coma.
I can remember the morning having breakfast with my dad, but apart from that, it's like a blank week.
This dude has like the most Aussie accent you could imagine.
From what I understand, I was a passenger in the car, and a truck crashed into the side of the car, and crashed into the side that I was a passenger in. I've just been told I can't remember a thing.
He was in a coma for over a week, and during that time, it was unknown how he was going to wake up.
Oh, I really don't like these dogs because we had a neighbor when I was living in an apartment building with one of these things, and every time I'd walk in, it would try hump the hell out of my leg. Like, I'd be like, get off of me, you little thing, and it would be like, it'd come back and be like...
We got a call to say that he had awoken, and we were ecstatic, of course, at least that was the first step. But they also had some other news for us, and I don't know whether they thought it was good news for us or bad, but to say that he was actually speaking Mandarin.
In high school, we had...
So 21-year-old Australian wakes up from a coma speaking fluent Chinese, suffered serious head injuries after the accident which occurred near his home in Melbourne, Australia. 21-year-old was in a coma for a week, but when he managed to recover, the first words to his nurse were in Mandarin. Okay, so I'm assuming he spoke actual Mandarin. Oh yeah, it even says down there, had studied Chinese in high school. So yeah, he studied Mandarin beforehand. When he woke up, for whatever reason, that was the language that just came to him.
do 2 languages, and I decided, okay, I'll do Chinese. But it was basic fluency. After waking up from the coma, I saw a Chinese-looking nurse. And because the first person I spoke to was in Mandarin, my internal monologue became...
Oh, he must be good at Mandarin. Like, look at his phone. He's actually reading.
Chinese. It did suddenly get really a lot better after the coma because it just became so much more quick. I'd probably first 3
If he's actually reading at that speed, that's native reading speed. That's really fast.
3 or so days, I'd only speak Mandarin. And then when my parents came and saw me, I'd speak to them in Mandarin as well. And so that would have really frightened them, thinking, oh God, we're going to have to start learning Chinese.
If this happened in my family, as soon as I realized I was doing this to them, I probably would have kept it up for just a little bit longer to drive them insane. Because that's the type of family we are. But then again, my dad would have been like, what are you doing, boy? I know you're messing with me. And like, let's say I wasn't messing with me, he'd probably slap me around a little bit and be like, snap out of it! Stop it!
So I wrote, I love my mum, I love my dad, I'll get better in Mandarin, and then gave it to them. I'm sure the nurse translated it for them. It says I love my dad, I love my mum, I love you all, so you're in that one.
It sort of was like a little hook that he could grab onto, and you know, he's, as I said, made a fantastic recovery, far better than anyone could have expected, and it's been on a platform
Oh, I wish it wasn't so blurry. I want to see like his handwriting.
of his Mandarin skills.
Well, you can feel it. Yeah.
So after I came out of rehab, I said, oh, I need to do something with myself. My Mandarin's kind of
Okay, so yeah, I can see at least one character right there in the middle, and that is the character I, which means to love.
the thing that I'm doing at the moment, so how about I just do 1 unit of Mandarin at Melbourne Uni? So I progressed pretty quickly, and then they said, okay, Ben, there's this competition at the Victorian finals of Mandarin. Do you want to...
Oh, so he actually took part in this. I actually took part in this competition, but I did it way back at the beginning of my Mandarin journey, and I didn't get too far. Yes, the bridge competition. I actually have a story about that on my channel.
Melbourne Uni. I said, yeah, sure. And then luckily got to the Australian finals, and then went on to represent Australia in China.
Okay, then he's damn good.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the people that I was competing against, they were really good. Like, I was actually probably the worst one in the room out of the 12 people I competed against.
It was amazing time, really, that he could do that because he was one of the youngest contestants. It was a fantastic way of almost letting us know that, you know, I'm going to recover from all of these challenges that I've had.
And my voice is slightly higher when I speak Chinese, which is interesting.
Okay, 咖啡来啦.
Cafe la la. You know, that whole thing about your voice being higher, it could probably be from like the content you're consuming. So if you listen to female voices a lot in Chinese, you start to mimic them, and they do speak differently to male voices.
I mean, I pronounce words wrong all the time because I might use the wrong tone or something like that. And
That's almost unavoidable.
means something completely different. A good example of the language is that my name Ben means stupid in Chinese.
So true. I've made this joke before. Okay, so I had this workplace ages ago where I'd work with this guy, and he would always be doing like the most stupidest pranks behind me. And one day he just annoyed me. I turned around, and he knew I liked languages. I was like, do you know your name literally means stupid in Chinese? And he just stared at me like this. He was like, really? Like he wasn't sure if I was just messing with him. I was like, yeah, it does. And then straight away he goes, looks it up, and he's like, oh, you're right. Cool.
Chinese. So the first time I introduced myself to a Chinese person, I said, hey, 你好, 我叫 Ben. And they kind of laughed, you know, hi, I'm called stupid. And they thought I was almost joking. I would say I'm fluent in Mandarin. I would not say I'm fluent, but...
Okay, that's how you know if someone's fluent as a secondary speaker, because the better you get at a language, the worse you feel about your capabilities in that language. It's like, we all know about this. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, basically.
I'm fluent enough to talk with friends and to host in basic Mandarin a small TV show.
This must be an old video. I'm curious where he's up to nowadays.
Hello, 大家好，欢迎收看本期美男私房菜节目。
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good, that's for sure.
Hosting in your second language is difficult. You know, I've got one host is from Taiwan, one host is from mainland China, so they speak, of course, fluent Mandarin.
And what he didn't mention there is they probably speak a more local version of the accent, unless they're really putting on the TV show presentation where you would try to adopt a more like formalized Mandarin. But it's still different between mainland and Taiwan.
Oh my god!
If I try to speak at their pace, I'll just tumble and fall over my own words.
各位 lady, 1, 2. 各位 lady, gentlemen, local 和老外。
I mean,
Lao Wai, which means foreigner.
they've really welcomed me with open arms. Because there are too many people that study the language Mandarin at this level, you know, that really gives you a lot of force behind yourself to just keep going and going and continuing that kind of Chinese path.
I think one thing that's very telling, though, is when I look back over everything that's happened, I've never heard him once complain. He's always been so positive, and I think that's part of why he's recovered so well.
I hope I'm helping bridge the relationship between China and Australia, and not only on just a business level, but also on entertainment, and then also, who knows, in the future on a diplomatic level as well.
Now, you might be sitting there and wondering, Evildea, this is a great feel-good story and all, but it's not exactly something that I can implement. Don't worry, I've got you covered. See, Evildea has just released his first language learning methodology called the T-Bone method. And how it works is like this. All you got to do is send a large amount of money to me via crypto, preferably Myriad, because it is untraceable, or at least it's a lot more difficult. And then Evildea will organize some local goons on a random date and time to T-bone you while you're on the way to Taco Bell. Now, hopefully, if the goons implement the method implemented correctly, what should happen is a few days later, you will wake up from a coma speaking your target language. Now, I do have to say that the fail rate for this methodology is quite high, but you know, for those who are willing to take the risk, there is a great reward at the end of it. And I can guarantee that there are some happy customers out there. At least I haven't got any negative reviews so far. So if you want to implement this method, just let me know in the comments below and I'll send you the my payment details.